From the studios of Warren Tech North, this is Building Bright Futures, a Jeffco podcast with Jeffco Superintendent Dan McMinimee.
Welcome to our latest podcast. I'm Dan McMinimee. Today we're going to spend some time with a man who has one of the most challenging jobs in Jeffco. His name is Tim Reed, and he's the Executive Director of Facilities and Construction Management. If an older school needs an upgrade or a brand new one needs to be built, Tim is our go-to guy. And those are only two of the many hard hats he wears. Thanks for being with us, Tim.
Thank you, Dan.
Let's start with your background and your path to Jeffco Public Schools. How did you end up here?
Okay, well, by profession, I'm an architect. And when I first got out of school, I went to work for a firm that did only schools. And so I've got a whole history of school design background. And I had my own firm after that, and actually Jeffco was a client for about 12 years prior to me joining the school district. I've been with the school district now for almost 10 years. I started out as a coordinating architect in the what was then the old planning and design department. In 2010, I became the director of planning and property and was selected in April of 2013 as executive director of facilities and construction. Some other information that you may find interesting is that I'm in my second term on the Public School Capital Construction Assistance Board, which is the best board. Mm-hmm. And all three of my kids are graduates from Bear Creek High School and the Bear Creek articulation area. I have two grandchildren at West Ridge Elementary School, and my daughter-in-law is the teacher librarian there.
I know this is something hard for our community to get their arms around, but your department is responsible for over $2.5 billion worth of schools and support buildings. Can you talk to us about the overall scope of what you and your staff do?
The department itself consists of building and site maintenance, custodial services, environmental services, planning and property, construction management, energy management, and business services. We have approximately 750 employees in our department. Our budget is about $50 million a year, and we also receive from the general fund $20 million for annual construction projects. We have loyal and committed employees that, as well as leaders in each of these departments, and we work every day very hard to meet our goal of providing the best learning environment for students and teaching environment for staff. We're part of the support services group, and we take very seriously the part that says support and services. We're service-oriented, and we really do try to do our best.
Well, and we really appreciate the work you do every day to make our schools are safe, warm, and dry. Your department does a great job. Jeffco is a very large district with a wide range of buildings, some old, some relatively new. How do you prioritize the work that needs to be done on a regular basis?
Well, we have a comprehensive database for each of our buildings. It lists and prioritizes the deficiencies, with a number 1 being the highest and a number 5 the lowest. On an annual basis, we review the database, and this is also how we determine where to focus our limited resources. Primarily, we look at warm, safe, and dry deficiencies first. However, over the past couple of years, we've been purchasing classroom furniture, playground furnishings, carpet, and making improvements to the sites in general. We've also created 2 dedicated landscape teams whose focus is on high school athletic fields, one in the north and one in the south. The site maintenance team, these are also the people that are working through the night to make sure the drives and the parking lots are clear of snow this time of year. On an annual basis, facility staff assesses approximately a third of our buildings to keep the database current. And we also meet with our maintenance folks to get their perspective of what's going on in our buildings. However, this year in 2015, or last year in 2015, we assessed all the buildings in anticipation of a possible district-wide facilities master plan.
Thank you. I know sometimes you're called upon to find new uses for existing facilities. The Sobeski Academy moving into the old Stevens Elementary is just one recent example. Talk about that project and what it took you and your team to get the new Sobeski location ready.
Okay. With the grade reconfiguration of the Jefferson articulation area, the Stevens Elementary was moved from that location into the former Wheat Ridge 5-8 building, leaving Stevens empty. Sobeski at 20th and Hoyt was a 1930s building with limited square footage, which in turn limited the program for the special needs kids that were there. So in late 2015, the architect who'd been working with us in the Jefferson articulation area came up with a means to what we call harden the building. And what that means is that we provide more durable surfaces and things that really tailor it towards the people that will be using it. So we started this work right around December of last year and completed it just before spring break. During spring break, the staff moved their furnishings and their equipment into the new building, and now there's significant space to really grow the program, and it's not really limited by that square footage.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just want to tell you, I was so proud of the recent article, I believe it was in the Denver Post, that talked about Sobeski Academy and the comments from students and staff about the environment that they get to be in now. I just think that shows the quality of work that your team puts together to make sure that all of our kids, no matter what their circumstances, have great learning environments. I'm very appreciative of that.
Thank you, Dan.
We'll be back more with Tim after the break.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with Tim Reed, Executive Directors of Facilities and Construction Management. Tim, routine maintenance is such a key part of your department's mission, and that mission could not be done without our facilities managers and custodial services staff. Talk about their role.
Well, the facility managers and certainly the head custodians are the leaders in the schools from the maintenance standpoint. And we have about 500 employees in the custodial department. The facility managers in particular serve a dual role. They work closely with the school administration while providing the services to the kids every day that are needed throughout the school day. While they're still employees of custodial services, they also have to work closely with the administration, so that requires some diplomatic skills on their part to sort of navigate those waters. Our custodial staff work late into the evening to make sure that our buildings are clean and ready for use the following day. They're also the ones that do building checks during school breaks, just to make sure that everything's functioning properly in the building, the boilers are on, there's no water leaks or anything of that nature. And they also show up while it's still dark to shovel the snow, clear the walks, and make sure that everything is ready during the winter season.
Well, as a former high school principal, I can tell you having a good facilities manager is like finding gold. Those people are critical to the work that goes on in our schools, and I always make it a point when I'm out in our schools to, number one, notice how those things are happening in the schools, but if I see the facility manager, I try to tell them what a great job they're doing. And our facilities are spotless, and our FMs do a great job of making sure that kids have what they need. And I think that's a great tribute to you and the work that your team does.
Thanks, Dan, and I couldn't agree with you more. Facility managers they're the people that represent our department on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, there's two people that really make a school go in my existence. Number one was the facilities manager, and number two was the office manager. So. Our school buildings use a lot of energy, and Jeffco continues to try to improve energy efficiency through the Renew Our Schools program. Talk to me about the Renew Our Schools program.
The Renew Our Schools program is a program part sponsored by the State Energy Office. And it's kind of a competition. We participated in it last year for the first time, where I believe we had about 15 schools in two tranches. One was high school and middle, and the other was elementary schools. Significant awards, I believe, in the $75,000 range for the winning schools. And the point of the program was to really let kids see, one, how much energy is really used. So there was a special device called an e-gauge that was attached to the school's electrical system that allowed the kids to look at a website and actually see in real time how much energy the building was using. And also then they could take steps and do things that helped save energy at home and also helped saved energy around the school. We saw some outstanding videos and programs and things like that. So selecting the winners was a very tough process. We'll be going through it with a whole new group of schools later this year. And we're also, as a part of a capital program, installing e-gauges even in the buildings where we don't have the program going on. But I think this is just one area where we're looking at saving money in utilities and energy. I don't know if most people know that we've received nearly $1 million in grants from Denver Water to install improved irrigation controllers that actually monitor the state of the grass or whatever we happen to be watering and adjust the flow of water and the time that goes to it. We've also installed, we've replaced the interior lighting with LEDs in 3 schools, and we're saving about 20% in electrical usage at each of those schools. And we've also switched to LED parking lot lighting at numerous sites in the past, and we'll be doing about 8 sites this summer.
So I applaud you for that work. We both know any dollar that we save in energy costs is turned directly back into the classroom for kids, and that's a significant chunk, I'm sure, every year.
And that's where we're at, too. We believe that every time we can save a buck, either through more efficiencies or just smarter ways of doing business, that it ends up back in the classroom.
Summertime offers a break for many students in Jeffco, but not your team, because this is the time you can actually catch up on work, correct?
Yes, it is. We'll do approximately $20 million in various projects over the summer. And the projects that we'll be doing this year include fire alarms, exterior building and parking lot lighting, some HVAC and replacing chiller projects. We've got classroom furniture coming in, playground improvements, carpet, parking lot and paving projects, electrical and plumbing work. In addition, those are just the capital projects, but it's also the time when we do a lot of the maintenance work that we just can't get to during the school year. And that's like painting, gym floor refinishing, some roof repair, exterior fix-ups, things of that nature.
So when the last bell rings and kids walk out of the building, it's not everybody kick back and put their feet up on the table. It's actually the exact opposite. It's like a sprint at a track meet where it's like, all right, we got to have this building back in order by the middle of August. Let's go now.
And we take a deep breath right after the middle of August.
Yeah.
And we don't put our feet up, but at least...
Well, you may get the 4th of July off.
Yeah, there you go.
But it is a challenge, and I don't think people necessarily realize just the normal wear and tear on our buildings. When you have that many kids in a confined space, there's going to be some things that get broken, some walls that get dinged a little bit, and not because kids are malicious, but just happens. And so, pouring back over all those surfaces and getting prepared is a lift.
That's right. And I think the other thing to keep in mind that a lot of our buildings are used 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, some of our high school buildings don't ever seem to close. And a lot of our elementary schools are community resources, so they're occupied a great deal of time as well.
I know I was joking with Griff Worth, the principal at Wheat Ridge, last weekend. They had an event on Saturday, and he kind of unofficially dubbed it Wheat Ridge Never Sleeps. So I know what you mean there. Another critical area you're involved in, and we're beginning the conversations with the Board of Education, is about future needs and planning. Tell us a little bit more about how you go about that.
The planning and property department tracks enrollment trends and actually publishes each year an enrollment projections report. We also track our real estate portfolio, and the state of that is our annual summary of findings. Building condition, and that tracks building conditions, deficiencies, the value of the portfolio, and things of that nature. When you issue a master plan, it isn't always you don't necessarily reinvent the wheel. You go back and you look at the past master plan and see what is valid and what needs to be changed, or what circumstances have changed that would cause you to revise your thinking. Typically, a master plan is good for about 5 years, and then it really should be reevaluated at that. But it is a living document, and actually it's something that you don't want to put on the shelf and then forget about it.
Our schools have been around for a long time. I mean, I saw the graph where we have some building, I think there's one or two there from like 1924, somewhere in that range. And, the bulk of our buildings were built mid-60s to mid-80s. And we're to the point right now where we need to do something to get those efficiencies back and to provide quality environments for our students. So while there are some challenging aspects to it, I think if a person looks at it as a whole, they can really sit back and go, recognizing we serve 86,000 kids in 154 sites, that's big. And we have got to take some steps to change the trajectory. And I just am so appreciative to you and your team, again, for going in and doing that work. There is so much data, so much work that went into putting together a responsible plan around the efficiency of our buildings. I know that was a heavy lift.
Well, thanks, Dan. It's a kind of amazing as we sit here and doing a podcast. If somebody had said a podcast when some of these schools would have been built, they'd wonder, what are you talking about, something that grows peas or what,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, Tim Reed, thanks for being our guest today, and thanks also to the digital audio staff and engineers of wonderful Warren Tech North for their production assistance. Have you missed any episodes? You can catch up anytime on JPS-TV, the official YouTube channel of Jeffco Public Schools, or on iTunes. Until next time.
This has been Building Bright Futures, a Jeffco podcast with Jeffco Superintendent Dan McMinimee. This is a production of Jeffco Public Schools.